to go over how I make plushies. I also have a guest today that is fairly new to plush making, and his name is Dream Visions, and he's going to talk a bit about how he got started and his plushes and what his plans are for the future. So that'll be really interesting. Is that better?
Hello.
I've never been a very good rock star. Anyway, so I hope everyone's been enjoying Bronycon. Y'all had a good time and found the goodies that you'd like to see or have? Yeah! Good. This is my fourth year here, and every year I'm astounded at how well it goes, for how many people come, and just how creative everyone is, and just it's such a nice place to be. No one's ever grouchy or mad. It's just fun. So I really enjoy it. So thank you for coming, because if you didn't come, we couldn't have Bronycon. Okay, so just a little bit about me. A lot of you here know me. I started about 2011. I've always sewn, but in 2011, my good friend's daughter wanted to make some pony OCs for her girlfriends for Christmas. So I told her, and she didn't know how to sew, so I told her, well, sure, I can come over and help her out, give her some pointers, that kind of thing. And she drew the first pattern that we ever tried to make with ponies, and we made it out of flannel, and it didn't really turn out super great. Sorry. Okay. Silly, but okay. So it didn't really turn out super great, but it was a start, and it's up on the screen now, I see. That was the first one, and again, it's made out of flannel, and I don't ever suggest using flannel because it really doesn't work out that great. So then after that, we kind of improved the pattern just a little bit, and we moved to fleece, and we made the OCs, which those are the three of them that we made. So those are kind of the first ones that her daughter and I made together without any other really knowing how to pattern or anything like that. And she was thrilled with them. So then she was showing me some of the artists that are on DA, and I was like, wow, this, they make some really beautiful stuff. So I said, let's try it. And we started working on our patterns, figuring out fabrics, where you get the fabrics, and we went through an evolution of trying to figure out how to make it a 2D thing in 3D. And so the first one, which is the Pinkie Pie, she's kind of my pony because she likes to have fun, and she includes everyone. So, Pinkie Pie is my girl. So this is the very first one that I made with some adjustments to the pattern, and it's out of fleece. And the eyes I cut out of felt and sewed on. And I still have this one. It sits on my bed board. I have a bed board thing. It sits on there. So does that other crazy pink one. So then we have just a group of pictures here that are going to show you kind of the evolution of the pattern, how it went. And each time we changed it and made one, we thought, wow, this is really good. And we have, well now, probably about 34 to 35 revisions on the pattern. And this Pinkie Pie right here is our most current one. You can kind of see we got the swoop a little bit better in the leg, and we have the nose is more pronounced. We are embroidering the mouth and the nose now, so that actually gives some definition to the face, where before I was putting it on, was hand doing it with embroidery thread, which works really great. It looked great, but this is even better. Let's see. Chatting about something technical, I'm sure. So the first thing that you want to think about if you want to make an OC or a pony at all is, can you make a pattern? And if you can't make a pattern, you're going to have to search for a pattern. My recommendation, if you can't pattern, is to get Planet Plush. She sells a pattern that is fabulous. It's easy to understand and to make. And it makes about, I think it makes about a 10 or 12-inch plush. So it's big enough to be able to handle easily, but small enough where you're not wasting a lot of fabric as you're learning. So that's really awesome. Also, you're going to want to be able to have your eyes and cutie marks. Maybe you want to paint them on, draw them on, cut them out of felt. You might want to embroider. That's what I do. There's lots of choices out there. There's another guy that does patches. His name is E the Pony. He's part of our fandom, and he actually sells the files that you can put into your embroidery machine if you happen to have one, or you can buy them already made and sew them onto your pony. And he sells them in several sizes. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Planet Plush actually sells the digital files as well. I could be wrong on that, and it might be Waifu, but one of them does. And both of those ladies are really awesome in the plush making world. So I use Minky, and I get most all of my fabrics online. If anyone is interested, I can give you a list of them. Unfortunately, one particular place won't carry all the colors, so you're going to have at least 3 or 4 places that you get different colors from. I don't know why they don't carry all the colors, but they don't. So it's always kind of an adventure when you do an OC, because people have a definite color like they want their pony to be. And sometimes when they send you references, it is, you know, perceived as orange, but for them maybe it's more maroon. So you really have to do a lot of talking with a person if you're taking orders for an OC, because you want to make sure that you understand the colors they want. Because sometimes I've had ones where it's not anything like I thought, it prints out and it's not the right. So very important to remember that. And let's see. So that covers the fabric, and I have a short video, I think, that kind of goes through the construction. You're going to see like laying out the actual fabric, the embroidery of the eyes, the front and back. Then we embroider the cutie mark on it. Kind of shows you the stabilizer, and then it's done. You have to do a lot of cutting each of the pieces out, and then you have, it's still showing you that, like the cutting process. After that, you're going to notice that there's a pinning process that I do. That's showing you the ears. For me, pinning is very important. I pin about every 1/4 inch because Minky has a nap. And if you don't do close pinning, I guarantee you that either the bottom or the top fabric is going to move, and it's going to be, instead of a 1/4 inch seam or 1/2 inch seam, whatever it is you're shooting for, it's going to be more or less on one side, always. And then your pony won't stand up straight, or it'll be slouching, or it'll do something crazy. It's very interesting. Another thing that is very important with picking out your fabrics and sewing your ponies is, over time, we have discovered that no matter what mink you use, and I use Shannon, it's a name brand, it's Shannon Cuddle 3. The darker the color, the less the stretch. And it only stretches in one direction. White stretches more than like the dark blue that I use for Luna. So you have to kind of account for the stretch when you create your patterns. Because it'll look, oh, this is how I want it to look. And then you stuff it and it's short and stubby. And you're going to have to add, 2 inches to the legs of your pattern, and it looks ridiculous. But when you get it stuffed, it's just right. And it can very much be different on a lighter color. Like my Celestia here, the pattern pretty much mimics the size of it. But if it's Luna, if you saw my Luna pattern, the legs are much longer than what it is once it's made, because of the way it doesn't stretch as much. It's very interesting. My the patterning it's something you have to play with. That's why a smaller pattern is really awesome, because you aren't going to be wasting a lot of the fabric. The fabric is very expensive. It goes anywhere from, say, $9 a yard to $24 a yard. And if you need something right now, you're really going to pay for it. So always try to plan ahead on your fabric. ready? Okay. So I have another video that's going to show you kind of the construction. This is Pinky, and some of you may have seen this before, and I'm sorry if it's a repeat. I promise next year they will have my new one rendered. So this kind of just shows you the pinning process and the sewing process of putting the pony together. And then it's just going to show some of the stuffing. This part's kind of fun because it kind of like shows the pony come to life. It's like the best part. And also, just so you know, if you're new to making plushes, the actual stuffing is an art in itself. The way you maneuver the polyfill in there so it doesn't bunch and make knots it takes some time to get that mastered. I have a young lady, the one that I started with, she comes over and does a lot of the stuffing for me because she's so good at it. It's like sculpting with fluff, so it's kind of fun. This is showing you the manes and tail. It's kind of the same process, cutting it out, pinning it, sewing it, stuffing it, and then applying it. There she is, putting the mane on. Now for me, Pinkie Pie and say Trixie, and ones that have kind of like the real narrow mane, sewing those on is difficult because it's kind of under and around and very tight and full. It's not, you would think that Pinkie Pie would be real easy, and for the most part she is, but attaching the mane and having it not look like there's big long stitches in there is a little bit hard. So, okay. So that's kind of what I do, very briefly. So I wanted to introduce to you Dream Vision. He's a tiniest bit new to the to the fandom. I saw him first in Equestria, LA, and I went over and I was looking at it, and he was not at his booth at the time, but his father was, and I told him, well, he's going to be big because I hadn't seen anything like what he's ever done in our fandom, and it's a fabulous idea. You could easily carry them. They're cute and cuddly. So I told him I would really love for him to come up to the panel and kind of show you what he does and how he got started and what inspires him to do what he does. He has a short video here that he's going to show. I guess he made it quite a while ago, right? Yeah. So it was last year, so things have changed a bit since then. So are you ready to play that? Awesome. So they're going to play that. So it's, I guess it's running off the Wi-Fi, so I guess it's going to be a little bit buggy. So I'm going to turn the mic over to him, so maybe he can kind of talk you through what you're seeing, and you can get to know him a little bit.
Hi everyone, this is actually my first panel, and I'm kind of nervous. And this just came up so suddenly, I don't have much to prepare, but this is all I can offer on my process. So the video should show every single step I did. It's like time lapse. If I didn't put this on time lapse, it might take up like 7 hours. So yeah, I usually multitask while my embroidery machine is working. So I just like draw out the pattern and such, and cut them. And basically, most of the arts and crafters should be having the same step over and over again, like embroidery and cut the patterns out, and just start stitching them. But it's only a 4 minute. Yeah, off screen, like getting the pattern ready. The fabric I use, because that was, I ran out of white fabric, so because this one I was making Bronycon for Equestria LA, which I make one just for her.
Just for her?
Yeah. I usually order my fabric from LC while I was gone back to China, which the fabric was more cheaper. But each time I go, it's like they have different kind of fabric, so it's hard to get back to the same fabric over time. Yeah. But this is saving a lot of money.
He's very lucky. He has connections in China where he can actually order specific colors and have them dyed, which is really awesome. I don't have that privilege. He has some really awesome connections over there.
I can supply you some. See, it's like the body is almost finished.
Is this all one session? Are you doing this all at
Yes,
once?
yes.
I think you said it was 7 hours, put down into 4 minutes. That's awesome. So what inspired you to start making My Little Pony?
Actually, I was kind of wanting some plushie for myself, and I bought up a few. But I think making something like more Cali would be the best, better, since nobody have ever made it before. But what got me into this idea was one day while I was still in Georgia, and my dog actually jumped up to me. I was like, he was right off in this position, just like laying right here, and I was just like howling him. And then I was thinking about, man, this would be great if I like make it into a plushie. Yeah.
So you were inspired by
Yeah.
your dog to give you some hugs.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's like, no, it's like,
Oh, there we go. So that's your pasta board, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
now I just like use anchor the wings and just stiffen them on. But right now I don't use anchor anymore. I think I can just like stabilize it with my hand.
So you're putting in details there
Yes,
for her
yes,
mouth?
yes. And stitching the mouth and corn on. Yeah. I think we'll be good by that. Anyways, yeah.
Super cute.
That's basically, yeah.
So I'm sure you guys have been in the vendor hall. These are them, right? Super, oh, there we go. They're so soft and cuddly. I think his work is really awesome. I mean, how long have you been sewing?
I started, I think 3 years ago, probably.
years?
Yeah, 2012. Yeah.
And this is what you started sewing?
No.
Okay, what did you sew?
When I first started sewing, I was started as making Digimons. Yeah, I believe you guys have heard of it. Yeah. Yeah, I make Tori. What was that? Because it's been a long time, I forgot about his name. I made Biomon and the Digimon that was a big ear. Yeah, Terion. Yeah. And the second I started was the Pony Plushie was the standing one, but I guess there's just so many artists that's making the standing pony. I just hard to like get any maybe attention from it. So I just one day this came up, so I just started making them after that. And I guess the part where I make the patterns using a software which is called Easy Toy. You guys can probably get it a free trial if you want to try it on. And but it's quite I think it costs $2,000 to get a whole lifetime uses. And right now I don't have that kind of money that time. I mean, so I just renting it. So I think it's $7 per month, but I guess most of you can just like rent it for a month and just make out a pattern and just continue using up that pattern. But for making this pattern, first you need to make a 3D model out of it, and then you can just like drawing the lines where you're supposed to sew the line on, and then you just like, it will just render the pattern out perfectly. Yeah, if you like get the line out right.
Is that the same one that you said you're renting or it costs $2,000 to buy?
Yes. This is like a combo. You pay like rental is $70 per month. They like rent out like both 3D modeling and pattern opening, like rendering software. So yeah, that's how I make my patterns. And now, I guess I can probably make some OCs in the future because I already got my OC out. Yeah, I just finished my OC before Bronycon, just before Bronycon. Yeah, and that's cover most of my part. Yeah.
What machine do you use for the embroidery?
The machine I use, I probably is the same as I'm already using, P770. Yeah. And the pattern that I use for making the embroidery are called creative drawings. Probably the creative drawing, the 5th generation. That is the one that I'm using. I know that they have a more generation going previously, but yeah, that's what I'm using currently.
Thank you. I thought it was pretty awesome. We have some new ideas. You see a lot of the same thing, which is always awesome because it's you know, everyone's interpretation, your art is not going to be exactly the same, but his is truly unique. So I thought, oh yeah, I like this guy. So I'm really happy that he came up, and you weren't nervous at all, so you did great. So I think we should go ahead and like maybe do some questions and stuff now, because I know that we want to maybe end a little bit early because maybe all of you might like to go to closing ceremonies, and I don't want to keep anyone from being able to see what fabulous thing they have to go there. So this wonderful gentleman is going to set up a mic for you, and you can come up, ask questions to either me or Dream Vision, and we'll do our best to answer them for you.
Hello,
Hi.
how you doing?
Good, good.
Great. How hard is it? Oh, well, first of all, my name is Timothy Thomas Materia. And I'm just wondering, how hard is it to do doing non-pony characters, like, you know, no ponies, but like dragons or whatever tier it is?
For me, these are the first stuffed animal I've ever done. Before this, I did like wedding dresses, costumes, that kind of thing. So for me, it would be like a whole brand new leap into another realm of patterning. And so when anyone asks me for that, I know a couple of other plush makers that are super awesome at it, and I always send it to them. So to answer your question, it would be really hard. Now, I don't know how he would feel about this. You want to say something about that?
What was the question again?
It's like making plushes other than pony. How hard would it be, like, to say do dragons or something completely different?
Well, for me, because I was using software, all I have to do, I just need the front view and side view, then I can like make out a 3D out of it. So I wouldn't really know of how to make the pattern. Like how would it be to use drawing, draw the pattern out and such. But I pretty always, how should I say, never mind. Because I like how you guys doing it, because I know usually 3D rendering, there's still a huge leap of differences between like drawing out the pattern and such. Yeah, I always admire your husband's work.
And I admire your work, both of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wireframing or other things, like for those celestial wings to stay like they are? I
Yes,
didn't
I
see it in
do.
your video.
In in order to, you know, I mean, she's so large, right? In order for the main to have that, I have a, first of all, I use stainless steel, and it comes in here, and in the body, we actually have medical grade tubing. It's a clear tubing, so when the wire goes into the pony, there's nothing exposed. It goes all the way down the leg, and the tube is secured at the bottom. So when the wire inserts in there, it's not going anywhere. It's the same thing for the wings. This wing has just a bit of wire in it. So the wings are basically posable, and then it goes all the way down the front legs. So that gives some integrity to it being able to stand, although they stand fine when I don't have it in there. And the same with the mane. It goes right into here, it goes down and is attached. So yeah, you do. I don't think you use any wire, do you? No. Yours are soft and cuddly.
Yeah, sometimes just use it on the main, the stainless steel. But I didn't do the quite you did for it, like wrap it up and such. But maybe in future, because mine's like main focus is on cowling, so probably I would just take out all the wire and just like try to mold it as fast as possible.
How would you go about resizing a pattern? So you want, you've got your pattern for a stuffed pony, but you want to make it in a different size. How do you do that?
To be perfectly honest, we just take whatever pattern we have and we hand draw it out bigger. With it's very tricky. On the pony, the bottom piece that is on the bottom pony is very strategic to making it stand or sit or lay, whatever you're going to want your pony's shape to be. It's just, if that isn't right, your pony's not going to be right. And when you resize, like say if you took it and put it on a machine that blows patterns up, it'll blow it up, it'll make it bigger, but the proportions aren't going to be quite right. So you could do that, but know that it's not going to look right. But in the same vein, if that's the tool that you have and say you're not really great at drawing, you could blow it up and just go ahead, cut the pieces out, cut the fabric out and make it, and then you could look at it and say, oh, okay, well, I need to shorten this or widen this or that, and that would be a good start. So it would really depend on your artistic ability for patterning. Patterning is very much an art in itself, and I can't draw, so all of you people that can, you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure that you understand how it's definitely, you've got to know what you're doing, especially when it comes to patterning. Although, like, he has this wonderful 3D modeling that we're going to have to talk about. That sounds like it would make it easier. Is that true with your resizing?
Yes. Basically, they have a setting that you can set up. You can set up any size you want after you got the 3D model out. Oh. Yeah, so it won't be much trouble for like making different sizes.
So it sounds like the best bet is to buy that software. Thank you. You're welcome. Yes, sir.
Hi, Marie.
Hi.
I've bought from you before, and I have to ask, how much does it cost roughly to make a plushie like Celeste? You know, like the metal, the fabric, the stuffing, just curiosity.
You know, I've never been asked that before. And how many of these have I done? I would probably see roughly a couple $100. I'm not sure. I will make sure I have an answer to that next time I do a panel, because I have to buy obviously each fabric, I have to buy a certain amount, and each one of these is probably, the bolt at least will cost me $98. I think that's the cheapest I've ever gotten a bolt for. So, and then I'm not sure about the wiring. My husband buys that. The medical tubing is very expensive. So I would say at least a few $100s in just materials.
Okay.
But it's really more time that is what I spend on it.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I know you were mentioning the 3D modeling earlier, and it's kind of associated, that's almost two parts, but I made a model in a 3D program called Blender, which is completely free, but when I unwrapped it, the lines, the seams themselves, they don't follow the same lines, and so accommodating for different curvature on the seams, how do I do that? And would it be related to how you pin, which is different from how I experienced it? Because usually I see it, you pin along the seam, whereas you guys have been, I saw you were pinning perpendicular to it.
Yes.
Oh, so.
You would be better to answer that on the, because that's how you do it.
Yes, how I do it is like, you need to, maybe sometimes if it's displaying it, you need to try to adjust the line where you try to open the lines. That probably will help you fix the rendering problem.
So essentially like, set the seams in different places in
Yes.
the program before
Yes.
you unwrap it?
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. That's how I usually fix around if it didn't render right. Yeah.
You definitely want to pin this way. If you're pinning this way, it's not gonna hold it right for you. I mean, I guess it might work, but it's not as good as the other way.
Thank you.
So my question is, if you can't find the perfect match to a particular fabric that you need at the time, how hard is it to make that color yourself? Like fabric dyeing and painting and whatnot.
Almost impossible. This particular fabric is a polyester base, so you have to use a polyester dye. I've tried like natural dyeing, like you can use, if you look up, you can find all kinds of ways that you can dye things with berries or different things to create color that's natural, and they don't stay. This fabric is incredibly resilient. You can get, I don't even know. Anything I've ever gotten on it, I've been able to throw it in the washer and it comes off. So you can only use polyester dyes, and they have such a small, like they have red, blue, green, purple, like they don't have like nuances. So you have to kind of experiment with blending those and then testing it. So you could do it. It would just take a lot of dedication. You'd have to like really measure when you start doing that blending, because if you got the right thing, you'd want to know what it was you did.
Right.
I do know that there is one artist, Naz, she's in Australia, and she does a lot of airbrushing, and that's how she gets some of the different unique colors on some of her plushes. I don't know if any of you follow her on DA, but she's a very talented young lady. Because I was like, how is she getting those colors? And that was what she was doing. All right.
Appreciate that. Okay, so I kind of have a two-part question. Excuse me. I've noticed a lot of you guys had the embroidered cutie marks, eyes, and whatnot. I actually do some embroidery by hand. Is that a good option for a plushie like this? And if it's not, can you recommend a low-cost machine that would do it?
Okay. It's definitely an option. I don't know how fast you are at it or how much enjoyment you get out of it. Because if you love doing hand embroidery,
I really do.
Then it's totally worth it. If you want to be able to make enough to maybe make it reasonable to vend, again, it would be kind of up to you, like how big you're making your plushes and how much time you want to spend on it, how much time you actually have to spend on it. As far as a reasonable machine, I believe both of us kind of use the same. We use a Brother PE 770, but there's one that's right below it, which is the Brother 400. And I'm not sure about Dream Vision here, but most of the plush makers that I know, that's where we started, because the machine, I think it's about $300, right? I think it's about $300, and if you watch it on sale, sometimes you can get $100 off close to Christmas. And
It actually does the embroidery, not just...
They did this one. It did this.
Okay.
It's a workhorse. I've had what I bought, when we bought that machine, we still have the same one. And we bought it, I think in beginning of 2012. And it's still going. And if you decide to purchase that, the software for designing these things is very expensive, thousands of dollars. But there's a free one, and it's called Sophie Sew. Thank you. And Sophie Sew. It's yes. You have to be very patient because it's free. Obviously, it has some bugs or glitches, but that's what we use, and it does great work. But once you kind of get to learn how to use it, then you'll be good in it. My husband is actually the one that does all the computer stuff, and I am not a computer person, so that's what I do. So, what do you use?
For the embroidery? Yeah, I use P7702, but I also have a software that can like design the embroidery pattern. That is called Creative Drawing 5. Yeah, I don't know if they sell those anymore, but it's hard to find them these days. Yeah, I bought it from Amazon. Maybe check it at Amazon. They still sell the software. I think it's around 200 or 300 for the software.
That's very reasonable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you guys think it's worth it of all the time that you use for just seeing people smile?
That's kind of why I do it, yes. I really love the fandom, and it's for grown-ups, you know, we have to go to work and we have to do grown-up work things, and it's really awesome to come home to a sewing room full of pastel ponies and know that in the near future I'm going to get to go to a convention where everybody loves them and they're nice and they're happy, and that's a very big part of why I do it. How about you?
It's pretty much the same about you, because I usually kind of like this fandom because, yeah, like you said, everyone's like smile and being nice. In China, it's like not much of this kind of happen, and around my Los Angeles area, it's almost the same. Yeah, I guess that's how real life is.
I have a question. It's about the stuffing that you use. Do you use like a different kind for a different type of plush toy, or is it all the same?
I mostly use all the same. It's just a polyfill. It's just, I know a lot of people say, I use premium polyfill, but it's just a regular polyfill that I use. One time, I took an Applejack before they had Applejack to Build-A-Bear, and I thought, I'm going to see if I can get this stuffed because I wanted to see what they did, and it was hilarious because it came out really long, you know, because the way they blow it in, and they have like little puffs. I don't know if you've ever been there or anyone, and I thought, oh, I love this stuff because it makes it softer. So we did get some of that and use that, and it didn't seem to really stuff the ponies any softer or any better or hold shape. So I just went back to my regular polyfill. It's just fluffy stuff. You can get it pretty much anywhere. Joann's, you get online, you can get it at Walmart. It's just, and most people don't have any allergies to it. I did try cotton ones, but that kind of bunched.
Also, do you need to do it a specific way to get them to stand upright, or?
Yes, definitely. It's, oh, let's see, how would you describe that? You put it in, and you kind of swirl your finger. And then you put some more in, and then you kind of swirl your finger. It's all about putting it on the inside and pushing what's in there out, so it'll be smooth. If you just kind of stuff it in there, it'll be lumpy. So it's really a technique of swirling your finger. I wish Jordan was here. She does most of my stuffing, and she'd probably be able to describe it to you better. She actually wears gloves when she does it, and you have like a little bit of a grippies on it, on the finger side, so that she can move it around, and also to protect the minky from holding it too much. You can get your hand oils on it. Kind of protects the fabric. How about you?
Well, basically, like I did like you do.
You use
So,
the same?
yeah, same polyfill. Yeah, there's no premium or anything like that. It's just normal polyfill. I think that works pretty good. Yeah.
Anything else?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Hannah.
Howdy, I'm reading in from the fursuiting community. And when we're constructing 3D elements of our suits, we commonly use something called open cell upholstery foam as a means of sculpting. And I wanted to know your opinion on if it would be viable either as a replacement for polyfill, especially on much larger plushes. We're talking on a scale maybe 4 feet tall, much larger than that. Or even just as a means of building a base for making patterns, as opposed to using polyfill. Is it just a matter that it's not cost efficient, or has this been tried before?
I haven't tried it before. I believe that maybe some of the other plush makers have when they've done chrysalis because of the holes in their legs. I can't be 100% sure that that's what they did. I know if I were to tackle chrysalis, that's definitely what I would use because it would give you the shape you want and it would hold it. The challenges that I see with it, which maybe you don't because you're being the fursuits, is I'm not sure how I would be able to put it inside. And because you know, the different shapes of it, I'm not quite sure how I would cover it. So that's one of the biggest reasons I haven't done chrysalis yet. Because if I'm going to do it, I want it to look awesome, and you know she's tall. And so trying to figure out how you could do it and make it look really well has been kind of a struggle for me. Do you have anything on that with using the foam?
No.
No?
No, I never worked with it. I mean, I kind of maybe did, but I'm really not sure because I only worked on this for 3 years.
Okay.
Don't have much skill like you do.
Does that kind of answer your question a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering if y'all had a particular needle that y'all use to do the finished stitching, such as under the belly, to really get it nice and tight without like showing the stitch as well.
I use sharps.
Sure.
That's what I normally use. Sometimes I'll use a heavier duty one when I have to do like these because I know I'm going to have to be pulling hard and really bending. And I also use a jewelry plier that goes like this and like this to pull my needle through, almost like I'm doing surgery because you can't. Some of those spots are really hard to get at. And you're hand stitching under your belly?
Well, he was doing it on the finishing of the one in the video.
Oh, you need to talk about that.
Well, I usually only use normal set of needles that will still work fine. It just depends how you stitch it, like how wide you make the leather stitch. Yeah, if you know what leather stitch is. Yeah, right?
So you're talking about how close together
Yeah, yeah. The closer it is, the better it is. So it won't show up that much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yo, no problem.
Is there a particular thread you use when you do that?
No, it's all the same thread. Yeah, because like you guys already work on this a long time and know whatever like it is needed to be used is the best for it.
I've actually found that different plush makers have different threads or types of threads, or they'll use double thread or a single thread with all kinds of different things to close up or sew on their add-ons on their ponies. So it's always interesting for me to know, how are you doing it?
I will say, you have any advice for someone who's new to making plushies, like if they wanted to try it? Any advice?
Oh, I definitely do. The first question would be, if you want to get into it, can you sew?
Well, not really, but I wanted to learn how to sew.
Okay. So if you're starting from bare bones where like you really want to do it and you don't really have much information about sewing, I'm not sure how old you are, but at community centers and junior colleges, they usually will offer basic sewing classes. So you can go in there, and I'm not talking about like you have to go for a whole semester or anything. A lot of times it's just a weekend class kind of thing, and they'll show you the basics of how to what a sewing machine is, how it works, how to use it. Also, Joann's has classes too that are awesome. And then once you have that basics down, I would suggest just getting some fabric and sewing straight lines. Learning to getting fabric and trying to pin it, just to know what that's like. And then once you do that, and you feel like, okay, now I'm ready to try sewing something, if you want to just dive in and make a pony, I would suggest getting Planet Plush's pattern, and you can get that online. She was actually here, and she was selling it, but you can get it from her online, and just go for it. If you've never done any at all, I would do it out of a cotton fabric. It's not going to stretch correctly. However, it'll give you the experience of doing the curves and the, you know, the cut-ins and all that kind of thing. And then you would know when you're ready. You'll be able to tell when you're ready to move to slicker fabrics, because these like to slide around. And that's the way they're supposed to.
Oh, okay. Do you two have even art account?
Yes, I have one. I believe you have a DA account, right?
Yes, I do.
What's the name on it?
It's called KLP Plushie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, also go with the Facebook page and Twitter too. Yeah, it's the same name.
All right, thank you. You're welcome.
Anyone else?
One question here. Whenever you embroider, for example, on Celestia's legs, do you embroider it on the fabric itself, or do you do a patch and then sew on? What's your process on that?
So that's an interesting thing to talk about. On Celestia, Luna, Princess Twilight, Princess Cadence, these are all actually shoes. So it's fully embroidered, and then on the bottom there's the minky that matches it, and it's on wood. The wood's covered with the minky, and then the embroidered piece is applied around that, and then it creates a shoe that we then put on, and I hand stitch it on. And we've toyed with the idea many times of putting magnets on the bottom and then magnets inside her feet so that people could actually take the shoes off. But I'm just so worried, so many people carry them around, that it would just fall off. And then they'd only have 3 shoes, and I know they would be sad. So I just sew them on, but they're actually just shoes. And I mean, we did try what you're talking about in the beginning, and it was pretty crazy, because I would have to take and sew this center seam and then put it on an embroidery machine and embroider it and then re-sew it. It was quite the process, but we have done it. It's too unpredictable, and I'm very fussy, so we just do shoes.
Gotcha. Also for magnets, try neodymium, very strong magnet, very strong.
Okay.
Another question, to get the that inward bend near the inner thigh, is that like some sort of kind of like a dart you use?
You're talking about right here, right?
No, for the hind legs. Yes.
Oh, you're talking about this part for the hip?
Well, yeah, where you've got the bend in and it curved and it's got that sharp intake right where the pelvis is.
Are you talking about this one?
Other side of the leg.
This side. Okay, so it's
Yeah.
that side. It's all patterning, and it's exaggerated. Anything that you see here, like this nice little round, and then it swoops down, it's going to look like this on the pattern. And when you sew it and stuff it, it's like this. It's that, it truly is exaggeration on a pattern. It's unbelievable how crazy the stretch is on it. I should have brought a picture of my patterns. Oh, yes. That's very important, what you just mentioned. Are we running? Is it time? Okay, so I'll answer this, and then we're going to do the drawing, because we want to be able to get to closing ceremonies on time. What's very important if you're on my plushies, I don't know if it'd be quite as important on his, because his are stuffed softer, and he also uses a really awesome type of minky that's very soft. You have to make sure that you lay all of your pattern pieces the same way on the fabric, which is with the grain. When you look at it, it's kind of knitted, it looks knitted together. You want it going down, because if you have some this way and some this way, the fabric stretches this direction. And if they're different, it could be short and fat and one, like the outside piece might stretch this much and the inside, this much if you have it in different directions. So when you lay it out, it's very important that all of them go the same direction. Okay, a cotton fabric doesn't matter because it doesn't stretch, but fleece and minky both. We have to be very careful about that. Okay, so I guess we'll do our drawing now, and that way everyone can get on. I'm sorry. And then that way everyone can get to closing ceremonies for the great fun to find out what we're going to be doing next year. Dream Vision has very generously donated one of his pinkies, and then of course pinky for me as well, because that's my favorite pony. We'll be auctioning, or not auctioning, doing the drawing for that. Oh, where's my little bag of goodies? There it is. So, which one should we do first? He's fun. All right. We'll let her pick out a little ticket and we'll see. Oh, she's never reading any. Not that she can't read, just that there's so many there. Read the number.
4, 8, 7, 2, 1, 1.
Congratulations. Okay. Would you like to do yours? Or you want me to do it? Oh, come on down. We've got to get a picture of you. He's being shy. Pick some. Nope. Yep.
This is 487183.
Right, oh, we got a pinky for our pinky.